Well, hello, everyone. And this is the Wednesday Wisdom, Life, Abundance, and Success message for December 5th of 2018. Today's message is an interesting one. The message is, how wide is home plate, like in baseball? Let me tell you a story about this. Back in 1996, in January of that year, in Nashville, Tennessee, more than 4,000 baseball coaches descended upon the Opryland Hotel for the 52nd annual ABCA Award. Now, as the story goes, and this is a true story, if you were standing in line, you heard some of the other coaches rumbling about the lineup of speakers scheduled to present during that weekend. But one name in particular kept resurfacing, always with the same type of sentiment. You heard people say, John Scalinos is here. Oh man, worth every penny of the airfare. Well, who the heck is John Scalinos? Well, in 1996, Coach Scalinos, who was 78 years old at the time and 5 years retired from a college coaching career that began in 1948. No matter, people were just happy to be there to hear him speak. So as he shuffled to the stage to an impressive standing ovation, wearing dark polyester pants and a light blue shirt, and a string around his neck from which home plate hung, a full-size, stark white home plate pointed side down. Some people wondered just who the heck is this guy? After speaking for 25 minutes, not once mentioning the prop hanging around his neck, Coach Scalinos appeared to notice the snickering among some of the coaches out in the audience. Even those who knew Coach Scalinos had to wonder exactly where he was going with this, or if he had simply forgotten about home plate since he'd gotten on stage. Finally, he said, "You're probably wondering why I'm wearing home plate around my neck. Or maybe you think I escaped from Camarillo State Hospital," his voice growling. "No," he continued, "I may be old, but I'm not crazy. And the reason I stand before you today is to share with you, baseball people, what I've learned in my life and what I've learned about home plate in my 78 years of life." He asked how many Little League coaches were in the room as several hands went up when he asked that question. And he said, "Do you know how wide home plate is in Little League?" After a pause, someone offered 17 inches. "That's right," he said. "How about in Babe Ruth? Any Babe Ruth coaches in the house?" After a long pause, 17 inches, came a guess from another reluctant coach. He said, "That's right." "Now, how many high school coaches do we have in the room?" Hundreds of hands shot up as the pattern began to appear. "How wide is home plate in high school baseball?" 17 inches, they said, sounding more confident. "You're right," he said. "And you college coaches, how wide is home plate in college?" 17 inches, the audience now saying in unison. "Any minor league coaches here? How wide is home plate in pro ball?" 17 inches. Right again. "And in the major leagues, how wide is home plate in the major leagues?" 17 inches. 17 inches, he confirmed, his voice bellowing off the walls. "And what do they do with a big league pitcher who can't throw the ball over these 17 inches? And there was a pause. "Well, they sent him to Pocatello," he hollered, drawing some laughter throughout the audience. What they don't know is this. They don't say, "Oh, that's okay, Bobby. You can't hit a 17-inch target. We'll make it 18 inches or 19 inches. We'll make it 20 inches so you have a better chance of throwing the ball over it. You can't hit that. Let us know. Hey, we'll make it even wider still, say 25 inches. Well, there's a long pause here as coaches don't know where he's going with this. Coaches, he said, another long pause. What do we do when our best player shows up late to practice? What do we do if he violates curfew? What if he uses drugs? Do we hold him accountable, or do we change the rules to fit him? Do we widen home plate? Well, the chuckles gradually faded as 4,000 coaches grew quiet, the fog lifting as the old coach's message began to unfold. Then he turned the plate toward himself and, using a Sharpie marker, began to draw something. When he turned it toward the crowd, point up, a house was revealed, complete with freshly drawn door and 2 windows. This is the problem in our homes today, with our marriages, with the way we parent our kids, with our discipline. We don't teach accountability to our kids. There is no consequence for failing to meet standards. We widen home plate. And he paused. Then, to the point at the top of the house, he added a small American flag. This is the problem in our schools today. The quality of our education is going downhill fast, and teachers have been stripped of the tools they need to be successful. To educate and discipline our young people, we are allowing others to widen home plate. Where is that getting us? And this is the problem in church, where powerful people in positions of authority have taken advantage of young children, only to have such an atrocity swept under the rug for years. Our church leaders are widening home plate. People sat there amazed at a baseball convention where they expect to learn something about curveballs and bunting and how to run better practices. They were learning something far more valuable from an old man with home plate strung around his neck. They had learned something about life, about themselves, about their own weaknesses, and about their own responsibilities as a leader. They had to hold themselves and others accountable to that which they knew to be right, lest their families, their faith, society continue down this undesirable path. If I am lucky, Coach Scalinos concluded, you will remember one thing from this old coach today. It is this: if we fail to hold ourselves to a higher standard, a standard of what we know to be right, if we fail to hold our spouses and our children to the same standards, if we are unwilling or unable to provide a consequence when they do not meet that standard, and if our schools and churches and government fail to hold themselves accountable to those they serve, there is but one thing to look forward to. With that, he held home plate in front of his chest, turned it around, and revealed its dark black backside. Dark days ahead, he said. Coach Scalinos died in 2009 at the age of 91, but not before touching the lives of hundreds of players and coaches in that room and beyond that room. Meeting him at that convention kept people returning year after year, looking for similar wisdom and inspiration from other coaches. He was the best clinic speaker the ABCA has ever known because he was so much more than a baseball coach. His message is clear. Coaches, keep your players, no matter how good they are, your own children, and most of all, keep yourself at 17 inches. So do you hold yourself accountable? at that 17 inches? Do you hold others around you, your children, your spouse, your leaders in your church, your schools, your government, accountable at 17 inches? In my opinion, accountability is lost in today's society, and it's time to start getting back to with yourself first, to hold yourself accountable at 17 inches. I hope you've enjoyed this message today. Please leave a like and a comment if you have. And I look forward to speaking with you again soon. This has been the Wednesday Wisdom, Life, Abundance, and Success message. And as always, I wish you much abundance, prosperity, and success.